You know, there are games you play for fun, and then there are games that seem to play with you. They're the kind of stories whispered about in school hallways or around a campfire. These strange rituals that promise a peek behind the curtain, a direct line to the other side. But what happens when you make that call and something actually picks up? Today, we're diving into the legends of games that aren't just games at all.
And that's really the first question you have to ask, isn't it? Why? Why would anyone willingly invite these forces into their home? Well, for some, it's the thrill. It's that adrenaline rush of doing something you know you're not supposed to. For others, it's just plain curiosity. And then you have people like a boy from one of our stories, Ravi. For him, it was all about proving it was just a bunch of nonsense, a decision he would come to regret big time.
I bet you've heard some of these names before. Charlie Charlie, Bloody Mary, the Ouija board. They're basically legendary gateways, spoken about in these hushed, nervous tones. Every single one is a different door, a different kind of invitation to whatever is on the other side. And each one has its own set of rules that, trust me, you'd be very wise not to break.
Okay, let's get into this, because what makes these games so creepy is just how simple they are. You don't need some ancient book or a fancy ceremony. Nope. All you need are things you probably have lying around your house right now. A couple of pencils, a piece of paper, a mirror, maybe a few coins. Just totally normal objects that somehow become these little portals for terror.
I mean, just take the Charlie Charlie challenge. A piece of paper with yes and no, two pencils balanced on top of each other. That's it. And it's that very simplicity that makes it so tempting, so easy for a bunch of bored kids in a dorm room to look at each other and go, hey, why not? What could possibly happen?
And here we go, this is where we meet the skeptic. In the story, Robbie just laughed at his friends. He was totally convinced it was all a joke, maybe just a draft in the room. This kind of disbelief, this mockery, it's a classic in horror stories for a really good reason. It's almost always the first step right before something absolutely terrifying happens to prove you wrong.
Because once you've sent that invitation out into the void and something accepts, the game stops playing by your rules. It starts playing by its own. And that initial fun, that skepticism, it just curdles into this chilling realization that you've actually made contact. You are no longer alone in that room.
It always starts small, doesn't it? Just a little sign that you've crossed the line you didn't even know was there. To Robbie and his friends, it was the paper shaking like crazy, and then that top pencil slowly, oh so deliberately, rotating to point right at yes. And that's the exact moment the game becomes very, very real. And from there, it just gets worse. It's not just an object moving anymore. It's a presence making itself known. There was this young man, Mike, who called out to Bloody Mary. After that, he was just plagued by these horrific nightmares. He kept dreaming of a woman's reflection in a huge ocean, a hand reaching out from the water, trying to pull him under. The game starts to crawl into your head.
And here's the thing you have to understand. The game doesn't just end when you decide you're done playing. It follows you. It becomes this shadow that hangs over every part of your life, this invisible thing that is always, always there.
Lara's story is it's a terrifying roadmap of how these hauntings can progress. So after she tried the bath game, on the first night, she just felt a presence. By day 2, she felt it following her around. And by day 3, she was having these vivid, awful hallucinations in the middle of a supermarket. The story goes, she failed to complete the last step to end the game, and she was found drowned in the very tub where it all started.
You know, in the game of Sarah Sarita, there's actually a way out, but it is terrifyingly high stakes. To leave, you have to ask permission and then toss 2 coins. If they both land on heads, that's a yes. You can go. But if they both land on tails, that's a no. The spirits refuse. Can you even imagine your life hinging on a coin toss against the very things you just summoned?
So, what is the ultimate price for all of this? For losing, or maybe for just not being allowed to leave the game? Well, the stories that spawn these legends, they're cautionary tales for a reason. The consequences are final, and they are incredibly grim.
Let's look at the ledger here. Mike, who played Bloody Mary, he was found drowned in a bathroom sink. Ravi, our skeptic, he collapsed. His face turned blue, his eyes went white, as if he was possessed. Lara, from the bath game, found drowned, with her story only pieced together from a diary she left behind. The price is always, always steep.
3 players, 3 games, 3 absolutely horrific endings. This number, it just cuts right through the folklore and drives the point home, doesn't it? It's this stark reminder that in these legends, curiosity doesn't just get you in trouble. It can be a fatal mistake.
Look, in the end, these games are really a kind of modern folklore, right? They're designed to test our courage, our belief in the unknown. But they all carry the exact same powerful warning about curiosity and the things that might be lurking just out of sight. So the question these stories leave us with, it's a chilling one. Knowing all the risks, would you still dare to play?